The Rise of Skywalker might be one of the worst fucking movies I've ever seen in my life in the goddamn cinema. It is akin and only precedented by Justice League. I've never felt such disappointment and utter just insanity in a movie experience other than in Justice League. Never ever have I ever sat in the cinema with my head in my hands and just like wondered why the fuck anybody decided this was a good idea. Most of these scenes in this movie remind me of the fucking super breath scene in Justice League, where I literally just threw off my glasses and just sat there in disbelief that this is actually a movie. That's my hot take.
Whoa!
I've been debating on whether I want to give this a 4 out of 10 or a 3 out of 10.
Whoa.
At some point last night, I had to settle like a good actual number would be a 4 out of 11. Because that's a 2.75. I'll give it a 2.75 out of 10.
Wow.
It's my hot take.
Wow.
It really just ranges from how aggravated I am at any given point. So, like 2.75 to like a 4. Got anything to say about that?
Not really. I mean, what a movie. Am I right? Am I right?
I can verify that it was indeed a movie. I'm moving your chat. I want to see if anybody chats.
Oh, I already have it pulled up on my phone.
Oh,
Yeah, nothing surprised me in that movie. Surprisingly.
Well, we both went in with full spoilers, right?
Yeah.
For the most part, we knew like just about all the main plot points.
Well, I said something did surprise me. Chewbacca didn't actually die. So
Chewbacca didn't actually die, and C-3PO got his memory back.
Yeah.
But
it was an entertaining movie, and not a good way. It was entertaining to see just how far they could screw up Star Wars. That was entertaining. Depressing, but entertaining.
Maybe I should put spoilers in the title. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, do that.
Alright. Hopefully no one comes in here and gets fucking blasted with all these spoilers. Because it's like almost impossible for me to talk about these without the spoilers, because
yeah.
I mean, right off the bat, Palpatine's coming back because it's in the first goddamn line. Excuse me, second line of the movie. The first calling card was "The dead speak," and I knew from that point on that this movie is going to be ridiculous. It is.
J.J. Abrams was so. He was so clueless on what to do with this movie that he had to bring back Palpatine from the dead.
To be fair to JJ, Rian Johnson killed his motherfucking emperor. Right? I mean,
yeah.
Right? I feel like Rian Johnson really fucked him in that aspect. In the fact that, that he just fucking killed Snoke for, no real reason. I mean, Snoke died to subversion of expectations. Just like I died watching The Last Jedi and now this movie. This movie's a clusterfuck just because it has no, just anything. It's just such a mess. I hate to, just hate on it. Let's start out by saying some good things, because I don't want to be, I don't want to be criticized as a fucking, I just hate, films, you just hate new Star Wars because it's not the OT. It's not true. I like the OT. I like the prequels. You know, I won't say the prequels are great. I like a lot. I love a lot of scenes out of the prequels. I think a lot of things are really iconic at this point from the prequels. But I mean, I'd say objectively they're not the best movies. I definitely would say that. Um, there's some things that are really goofy and don't make sense or whatever, and that you criticize. I completely agree with that. But I also think it's fair to say these movies are just a clusterfuck. When you have a clear vision, you have a situation like Marvel. I said I was going to get into good things. I will at some point, but I just want to make apparent that there is a difference between how Star Wars is handled and how, say, something like Marvel or even DC is handled. Because while DC is just a bunch of bad films, basically, with fucking Justice League sitting right on top of the shit pile, looking down at all its glory. They did have an idea of what they wanted. You know, Zack Snyder helmed the whole fucking DC franchise. DC franchise, and he gave all the movies a certain look and a certain style and a certain atmosphere. Now, you have the head of Marvel, and he has a clear goal with all these movies, and that's how we get a pretty tight and concise movie that spans over 11 years. You start in 2008. Endgame came out in 2019, and it was a pretty concise timeline throughout. We didn't have a lot of just bumbling morons doing whatever, crashing into each other. Like, Marvel has so many different directors with so many different ideas of what they want, but they all line up in some aspect with the movies. I won't say all of them are perfect or all of them have something to do with the main timeline, but they don't need to. Because for the most part, everything's pretty tight-sealed. And Star Wars, just these three movies, just don't make sense. The three movies by themselves don't make sense with each other. And the last two certainly don't make sense. Really, all three of them don't make sense in their own movies. They don't, like, nothing is fluent, nothing is, just makes any sense, really. But before I utterly shit on these movies and go down as a fucking hater, as some people have already claimed I am, we both know who I'm talking about. I would like to say that there were some character moments in this movie that I actually liked. I think we can both agree that we both like Poe. Poe, other than the droids and Chewbacca, was my favorite character.
I like how they gave him plenty of screen time. A lot, the screen time he deserved. Just the type of character that he was. He, like, ever since The Force Awakens, you know, we see this great pilot. He's this awesome leader. But in, like, The Last Jedi, he gets, the opening scene, and that's all we see him.
And then they basically emasculate him.
Yeah, the feminist movement destroys him in The Last Jedi.
It's not even just, I don't know what it's about. Like, I don't know what the whole part's about. Because, like he destroys a dreadnought. And that seems to be a pretty big deal, because that thing can wipe out their entire fleet, as alleged by the movie. That's what the movie says, that the dreadnought that they're facing can destroy the whole fleet. But Poe makes the call, decides to destroy it, and potentially saving them for, like, a good while, until, like, the rest of the fucking fleet shows up. Which is really dumb.
Especially the bombers they use. I don't want to get into much detail.
We came in here to talk about The Rise of Skywalker, but we're shitting on The Last Jedi still. But look,
Oh my.
But this is the problem. All the movies are so inconsistent, and none of them line up perfectly at all. Really, like there's just nothing about them that like just flows. Every story is so choppy and so just convoluted in every aspect. Like like the story just seems to go, and the characters just have to like be dragged along with it because none of them can progress the movie themselves. Besides Ray, kind of, but Ray just kind of does whatever. Her character's so whatever. Like having no desire, just wanting to do the right thing is not a fucking character motivation. Okay, that's some anime white knight shit. All right. That's some like I'm Kirito fucking from SAO shit. Okay, that shit doesn't fucking fly. You see how like fucking anime live action adaptations go. You know, they're not great. Here in America, they're not great. Maybe that sense of humor is really funny in Japan. I don't know. But here in America, literally every person I talk to, no one likes live action anime. Okay? That's just the thing. Like, it's just the sense of humor it doesn't flow in live action. But that's how they portray Ray. It's this perfect white knight that has no real desire other than she kind of wants to see her family again, but after she does the right thing. You know, there's that whole part in The Force Awakens where she like wants to go back, but she doesn't, and she ends up she runs away first, and then like Kylo captures her.
Ray's like her desire to I want to know who my parents are. I want to know who I am. It's so inconsistent. I like
It's so inconsistent and like
point.
base.
At one point, I'm like, okay, so she's over that. She's with the resistance now. She's fighting, you know. And then it goes back to, oh, I want to know who my parents are. And it's like, oh, I don't really care right now. I'm gonna fight with the resistance. Like, oh wait, I forgot. I need to figure out who my parents are. Oh, I don't care. I'll just fight. Oh wait. Do I want to know who my parents are? Do I not want to know who my parents are? Wait, am I trying to become a Jedi or do I want to become a Jedi? Wait, what am I doing? And I don't know what she wants. What is her character developing to? What I don't know.
She has no desire, and that's like, you know, like I feel like that's pretty big motivation for like anyone is to have their desires fulfilled. That's the whole point of like anybody is to have their desires fulfilled. That's just a human thing. Well, it's like anything thing. Since we're in Star Wars, you know, everyone has their own desires. Whether they just want to win the war, like Poe, you know, he wants to. I don't know if he wants to be renowned as the greatest pilot, but he is the greatest pilot. He obviously trained. Well, I won't make the script for the movie, but he's the best pilot in the film, is what the movie says.
And that's good. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with
I'm
that.
okay with him being a great pilot.
I mean, as far as we know, he's been in the war for a while. Again, I don't want to start writing stuff for the movie. You know, I don't want to. I don't want to be hypocritical to myself. But yeah, we know he's the best pilot, and we know he wants to win the war. You know, obviously has a lot invested because from what we learned in Rise of Skywalker, he was a spice runner, and he already had like a gig going, but he decided to leave that and go with the Resistance. I guess because he believes in good or something, but you know, whatever. Becomes, you know, they'll probably do a spin-off movie or something like that where like he was a spice runner.
Like the Solo film?
Yeah, like the Solo film, but this time it's Poe Dameron.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And he's a spice runner now, and he does all that stuff, and then he gets picked up by Leia or something like that. But like that might be interesting on how he became such a good pilot, because he's a spice runner, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like that's what he did. He transported spice throughout the galaxy, you know, dodging and weaving through Republic, you know, enforcers or whatever. Which apparently wouldn't even be hard because apparently the Republic's so goddamn fucking worthless that they couldn't stop a broken fucking government from rising up and just taking control and wiping their asses.
Yeah, apparently the Republic, after 30 years, had not established any form of, control over the galaxy to where they, could have an army built up to withstand an attack from a rising power that came out of the unknown regions. And apparently Luke is such a failure that he can't even, form a stable Jedi Order. And
Luke and Leia are both worthless characters.
Yeah, they're
because they both attempt to do something and they both fell so miserably. Now, I'm not saying that they don't have to fail. What I'm saying is they fell on such a level that it seems that it's just their incompetence that held them back. It seems like Leia didn't start a fucking army until the First Order started coming at them. Like, why the fuck would you not have a militia ready? Why would you not have a fucking navy ready? You just won the fucking war that, like, was a tyranny across the galaxy. How do you not have support? How do you not have a fleet ready in case anything like this ever comes back again? Did no one learn their fucking lesson? Was no one prepared for a fucking uprising? Are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? Like, at the state that they were at, anybody could have came in and fucking got them. Like, I don't understand. Like, resistance means to resist a power. Therefore, that means that the resistance had to be made after the First Order was, like, established and started coming after them. Like, how do you expect to enforce anything? Like, I don't understand. Like, we see in the episode 6 of The Mandalorian that they have a fucking, like, they have a fucking prisoner ship.
Right here, if you want to look at it. Oh,
They completely misuse the Imperial Star Destroyers, dude.
Also seem to act like stationary targets and not the menacing ships they should be.
There we go. We got some discussion going. I like this.
That's a good point, dude.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah. Allegedly, every single Star Destroyer, because even Poe makes a statement while he's like talking to the rest of the Resistance, which just accumulates to like 10 ships basically. That all the Star Destroyers now have Death Star laser weapons on them. And like in the trailers, like I saw the laser and I knew the spoilers. I knew the Star Destroyers had lasers on them like that. What I didn't know, I assumed that these lasers were used like they were like a dumbed down version of the the Death Star laser, like in Rogue One where they're like testing it or whatever, and they basically terraform whatever that planet is. That city. And I was like, okay, well, at least they're not as powerful, There's a lot of threats still, but, they're not, like, just these crazy, overpowered, like, lasers that they had on the Death Star, which was a giant, like, literal gun that, and it's so trivial at this point that they could literally dumb it down to where a little tiny Star Destroyer can have it, And they have 100 of them?
And also in The Force Awakens, when they can destroy, like, 5 planets at once with Starkiller Base.
Yeah.
Jeddah City, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
But, yeah, apparently, like, I just don't understand how Emperor Palpatine was, like, he was the mastermind behind the whole First Order.
And the Final Order.
Yeah, why would you not... I don't get it.
Him and Orders.
What's
right?
the point of establishing the First Order if you already have the Last Order being built? What does the First Order accomplish?
Doesn't the First Order just kind of like it? And it seems completely like. Here's a convoluted part. Like, this is why I know that everything was just kind of half-assed and no one knew what they were doing. Because why would you have the First Order in the first place if you're already working on the Last Order? Now, if it was a distraction or whatever, why didn't anyone from the First Order know? Because it seems like
don't know. Snoke could have been a great villain, even with the lack of backstory. The complete lack of backstory for the whole First Order as a whole. We only know where Kylo came from.
Like, okay, so I brought this up when me and Cohen were discussing this before. By the way, if you don't know, this is Cohen. I'm AJ. Did you say something else?
They were supposed to be they acted like regular Stormtroopers.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, definitely.
They only had they were only in like one. Oh, well,
they're like at the very end
Yeah,
on the when they're like destroying the destroyers.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. I mean, it's not a war film, but that's what it's based off. Like it's all like everything culminates around this war. That's what the whole OT trilogy, or I keep saying OT trilogy, the OT is based around. That's the whole thing. Like, it's not supposed to like give some message about war or whatever. Like, all the messages are about good and evil and like generations or whatever George Lucas says. I mean, I didn't see the whole generations argument, but like, it's about like just good and evil and having hope in desperate times, and there's just a lot of things you can take from Star Wars. And I agree, it's not like necessarily you're not supposed to get everything out of the war, but like, yeah, I agree. It definitely was. And then this is what we've been saying. If you just came on, we've been saying, there's obviously no fluent vision. There's no correlation with anything. Like, everything is so choppy, and it's obvious that they didn't really think anything through. They made the movies movie by movie. They almost at the end they started making the movies scene by scene and just went off that. Oh, so yeah,
it's funny. It's funny that the throne room was still intact.
It was so like intact.
Like, after being exploded, like completely annihilated, it was, I don't know.
I mean, obviously they just brought it back because fan service or whatever, and that's basically what they're making these movies on now. And like fan service isn't bad, all right, but fan service that makes no fucking sense and that is just the most convoluted thing. That's what makes fan service bad. That's when you start putting basically the scene over the substance. You put the visuals over the substance. You see, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to disagree with you on Alarming Lion. Like, not that it was like an awful scene or anything, but honestly, I started me and my friend to my left when we were watching the movie, just like we just started laughing. I mean, not that it was a bad scene. It just like kind of looked funny, but I mean, it was like, I mean, it was interesting. I will say that it was kind of cool to see like. I mean, it was kind of like the lightsaber scene where like they're both pulling on the lightsaber in the throne room of the second movie or the 8th movie, but just on a bigger scale.
I think I didn't like that scene just because of the fact that I hate Rey, and seeing Rey with that ability, the power to pull down a ship like that, I'm like, come on, Rey, get out of here. If Kylo can do it, I'm like, that's cool, but I just don't like Rey. I don't like Rey.
Yes, he brings up a good point. Yeah, there's just so much there was so much wrong with Palpatine. Like,
they made Palpatine.
He became like a religious figure almost. Like, he had a whole cult.
Yeah.
Like, I guess you can say the Sith themselves are kind of like a cult, but it's like they just went to an extent that was ridiculous.
Yeah,
almost.
Palpatine went from a powerful Sith Lord who manipulated the Senate into forming the Empire and destroying the Jedi to a immortal religious leader who
could clone himself or something, or make clones that he can control,
and who could summon the power of past Sith. Like what? Like all the Sith live in me. That makes no sense.
And then Ray's like, all the Jedi live in me. I was like, bitch, shut up. I was like, god damn. I was like, this is not how this works. That Luke didn't fucking ingest all the Jedi essence before he fucking took on the Emperor. Like, it's not a thing. It's obviously not a thing, but it's so fucking contrived. And we went to fucking Firehouse right before this, and like, even there, I was like, so like they can't make any more sequels now. They've literally gotten rid of all the Sith. I mean, Colin said that maybe they could, like, if someone really wanted to, they could go and
They could
find Sith artifacts and
Sith knowledge.
texts and stuff like that. And I guess true, but like at this point, why would anybody want to? Like, if you're looking for power, why not just go with the Jedi at this point? Because Rey just kicked the Emperor's ass. Like, who wants to side with the Sith out? They just fucking lost. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Man, I've said this before, if you put all the Sith against all the Jedi, I would take the Sith any day. Because the Sith have so much more ability with the Force than the Jedi. Because the Jedi, they cut themselves off at a certain point, and they don't go to the full extent of their power. I'm Rey Skywalker. Yeah. So stupid.
See, I knew that. I knew that was coming because of the spoilers or whatever. But here's the thing about the spoilers, right? Okay, so like, I don't want to say I didn't care about this movie. I cared about the movie. I wanted it to do well. Like, I was like, if any movie is gonna do well, it'll be the fucking ending. Like, but as the spoilers came out, it was just worse and worse. And it just it.
Oh wow. He dies on the way to Exegol, but Sith spirits bring him back. Huh.
What novel was that? Like, is that like a novel made for the movie, or is that like an actual like novel from the extended canon? Because I mean, if it's just a novel for the movie, then it's.
That's why it's on Disney created.
First of all, it doesn't matter because it's a novel. It's not in the movie. They don't explain it in the movie, so who gives a shit? If you're watching the movie, you don't know that you fucking escaped in a wormhole. This is why you can't have, like, it's nice to have like the extended universe of Star Wars, but like I don't look at that. Like, who gives a shit? Like,
I like the extended universe.
I would say Snoke was more interesting than Palpatine the second time. I think Palpatine is a very iconic figure, and it's hard to like live up to that stature. I think if Snoke had been handled better, I think he would have been pretty interesting. But yeah, what I was saying was like, I looked at the movie. Like, if you don't explain it in the movie, and you expect me to go research it, you have failed at your storytelling. You shouldn't have to make a novel outside the movie to explain what's going on in your movie.
Yeah, they definitely shot themselves in the foot when they killed off Snoke, because I guess they felt like Kylo couldn't be the ultimate villain. They're like, we need someone else. We need Palpatine.
Well, I'm assuming J.J. Abrams' whole idea in the beginning was to always have Snoke and always have Kylo go to the good side.
Yeah.
That's why he needed another villain.
Yeah.
That's why he was so bent on Snoke, I'm sure. And the whole mantra of, like, the two makes sense. So, like, it doesn't upset me that Snoke exists, but you have to give a good reason why it exists. We eventually got a reason.
Yeah.
Ryan Johnson was like, "No, fuck you. He's just whatever," and he was like, "No, fuck you. Rey's just whoever," and
Rey's
he's
a
just like,
nobody.
"Luke's just whatever." So like, while I blame some of this on Ryan Johnson, I knew a lot of the spoilers going in, and I was hoping that, you know, hopefully things would change, or maybe it would be better than what I thought. But literally every single delivery on every main plot was so poorly handled. Like, we just, in the beginning, we just have this like just run around of just like bullshit that we have to do, because we have to see certain planets and we have to run the clock, right? So we just give them a bunch of busy work to go after these fucking magical MacGuffins that come out of nowhere, come out of complete fucking just not even left field. They're from fucking beyond the stadium at this point. Oh yes, that was one of my big I said that earlier. It was one of my big fucking like annoyances. Like, fake out deaths always annoy me. Like, unless they're like kind of played out for comedy, kind of like how Deadpool does, where he blows himself up in the beginning or whatever. That's funny. Because you know he's not gonna really die or whatever, but it's just played for laughs. Of course, he like spoilers for Deadpool 2 if you haven't seen it, but like he kind of like actually dies, but he gets brought back and he just is an asshole about it or whatever. And I just thought that was funny.
An insane amount of jokes. Yeah, Disney's.
I mean, it's Disney.
Jokes.
I mean, it's no different than what you're watching a Marvel film. I definitely think I will say they definitely have their Marvel sense of humor down in the fact that some jokes land and some don't. In this movie, they tried doing that.
I think I only laughed at one part.
There were like certain parts I laughed at, like things they said weren't really funny to me.
Yeah.
I won't say it doesn't. I mean, I won't say it won't work in Star Wars, but it's just like a kind of comedy we're not used to in Star Wars.
Yeah. Because if you look back, there wasn't a whole lot of comedy in the OT. You know, there was Chewbacca. Chewbacca and Han were the whole. They led the comedic effect in the OT. You know, they were the comedic effect.
Like, a lot of the comedy I like in this movie is strictly visual based. Like, most of the funny scenes I think are with C-3PO.
Yeah.
And like, really the only one that sticks out in my head is when they're talking about the celebration, the 42-year, or the 42-year celebration on that one planet, and he's like, what great luck, and everyone's like, yeah, I'm so glad we made it. And he's like, me too, and everyone like slowly turns around and looks at him. He's just like,
yeah, he
turns around. That was kind of funny. That was a little funny.
That was pretty funny.
Like I'm not afraid to say there were like some good moments in this movie. Like, I don't just hate the movie just to hate the movie. Like, but like there were just so many convoluted things I just don't like. But okay, I said I was gonna get on like good things to talk about this movie earlier, and we kind of got sidetracked. But so like yeah, character stuff in this movie is something that I think was handled better in this movie than in The Last Jedi, especially with like Poe. Okay, some characters were like completely just non-existent, but like Poe was like good. Yeah, see, C-3PO was a cult leader in episode 6. Yeah, like, I guess I just like C-3PO. I guess he's just funny to me. But yeah, like Poe was probably my favorite like actual character. You know, that had lines. I
Yeah.
would say. You know, um, he wasn't really like emotional at any point in the story, even when spoilers, Leia died. But like I understand his character. He doesn't really have a desire other than he wants to win the war and prove himself as a leader, I guess. But even that is so much more than what Rey has.
It is. It is.
So, like in that sense, I give Poe a pass, I guess. And you know, I know he has a lot of stupid, witty humor. You know, Force Awakens, he talks to Kylo like it's a fucking like stand-up show. You know, he's just fucking trying to crack one-liners as a bunch of fucking villagers are about to get slaughtered. Like it's tonally, you know, Poe's not always the most consistent, but when like Poe has a good scene, like he has a good scene. You know, I like and like I wish Finn was better because the scene where like Finn and Poe are like the two generals and they're talking to the rest of the resistance, whatever. Like I thought that was like a pretty good scene, and I like the chemistry between Poe and Finn. But like Finn, this movie, like what the fuck? Like he was just like, I have a feeling. Like I get like I get it. Like in Star Wars, there's that cliche of like, I got a bad feeling about this, but Finn's like, right there, that one.
That's the Star Destroyer.
Like he could go. Guarantee he could go into a fucking casino on Canto Bight and fucking win the lottery right off the bat because he had a feeling. Like that's his feeling. It's not like, oh, I have a bad feeling. No, it's like, yeah, my feeling's telling me that the relay tower is on that ship. Like that's not a good reasoning. Like you can't just say that stuff. Like that is literally the writer and director being like, we don't have a way to like show, or we don't have a way for them to find out that the relay point is on that tower. So we're literally just going to have Finn guess that it's on that tower. Like that's what that is.
Yeah.
Kylo got like some justice. He finally like won a fight kind of until his mom fucking Skyped him.
Oh yeah.
And then she distracted him, and Rey decided that was the time to stab him in the fucking chest.
Kylo finally beat Rey in a lightsaber duel. And it's the last episode of the trilogy. And we're like, well, I finally got to see that. But then, no, you know, he drops his lightsaber and then gets stabbed. And then he becomes good. Yeah. Because
Rey's thirsty, and Kylo's the only one that can quench that thirst. She's like, I don't want to take your hand. I want to take Ben's hand.
I take Ben's.
I was like, this is some fan fiction writing right here. I was like, this is fucking atrocious.
And then the kiss. They just had to give the kiss.
Bro, don't even get me started on the fucking kiss.
After showing no,
they literally have no fucking affection
in any of the movies.
But because it's a boy and a girl, the director's like, fuck him, make him fuck, make him pipe. We gotta have a love interest now, even though it's not been built up literally at all in any capacity at any point in the goddamn movie. You cannot tell me at any goddamn point in the movie, any of the movies, that they are romantically interested in each other. That is bullshit, and that is just fake. And you're wanting your shipping and fan fiction of Reylo to go to absurd levels if you think that's true. Like there, just no. Like in the first like movie and a half of this trilogy, Rey's like he's an irredeemable monster. He killed his own father. He tried to kill his own mother. He's just a horrible, horrible person.
Even Luke gave up on him.
Luke gave up on him. His own goddamn mother gave up on him. Leia literally sends at the end of the Last Jedi, like, my son's lost or whatever to Luke, and then Luke decides to fucking,
moves through it, everything.
I think he's talking about when Finn.
Yeah.
That's a dumb
But
argument.
like
That's like that would be like anybody could do that then.
Yeah.
Why Finn? Like, but anyways, the fucking romance plot was so stupid. Like that was such a shoehorned in like thing. Like I don't know if they thought that would be a great ending to this fucking character. It wasn't. It was not at all. A good redemption was like him finally giving in to the light side, like he's been wanting to do basically the entire time, but was just too angry and frustrated.
You know, have you seen thing called Sausage Party?
Yes, I've seen Sausage Party.
Bro, I got that vibe at the end of the movie when everyone was all hugging and they were celebrating. I was like, this is Sausage Party ending. What, you know, when everyone was having sex, I was like,
the bun and the hot dog.
That's the vibe I got from that ending. It was. So
I actually
much.
walked out of the movie theater on
it
that
was
one. That was
so much. And it made me think back in every movie in the trilogy, it ended and like everyone was hugging and it was happy, it was celebration, and I'm like, where? You have to take risk, man. You can't. That's stupid.
Like, it's like the director wanted his own fan fiction in the film, so he made them kiss.
And then he had to throw in the lesbian kiss. You remember that?
Like I'm fine with the lesbian kiss, but if you're gonna go there, why not go the whole way? Why not interdimensional species kiss, or why not Chewie kissing Maz? You know, what the fuck? I swear to God, there was a scene where they had Chewie and Maz kiss. I swear to God, and they cut it out of the movie because the amount of time they looked at each other and were just like smiling at each other was so goddamn awkward, like they wanted to bone. That I was like, they had to have this somewhere. They had to have them kiss at some point, and they took it out.
Because he believes in the Force and he's been around it. For most everyone, the idea of the Force has been lost.
Except everyone who knows Rey.
Except
and believes in the Force. Like
everyone that should.
I mean, just because you believe doesn't make your midichlorian count go up. I mean, saying that Poe like is Force sensitive is like whatever, fine. But like, it's not established at all that he's fucking Force sensitive. It's not. He doesn't show any. What?
I don't know. Just because I said something about the lesbian kissing.
Fucking cares. Anyways, but like, it's not established at all that Finn is
Force sensitive.
Force sensitive.
Yeah.
He just all of a sudden in this movie for no reason is like,
and
I have a feeling, and that's what he
says. He sensed that Rey died. He could sense it. Remember that part? He sensed it. You shouldn't be able to sense someone else's death if you're not Force sensitive.
Finn saying he has a feeling goes way beyond like Han Solo just saying, I have a bad feeling about this when they're trapped in a goddamn garbage disposal, you know?
Yeah.
That's a bit different. And Han was like Luke's best friend for years. And it's not like Han had a fucking feeling all the time, you know?
And that line, they throw that line in there in every Star Wars movie. But when it was delivered in this one, it didn't feel right. It was Lando.
It was Lando.
And he's like, I got a bad feeling about this. And
I don't know, I thought it was fine because I felt like it was a callback from an old friend of Han's, like saying his line, you know?
Yeah.
So I thought it was like, I thought it was fine, but goddamn, I was on good things and we keep going back to, because fucking Rey. God damn it. Well, no, because Finn actually this time, but I like Chewbacca. Chewbacca's always nice to see.
You know how funny it would have been if he actually died. Oh my gosh.
I don't know if they could have redeemed Rey. They didn't really redeem Rey, but
I hate Rey, dude.
She would have been the most hated character in Star Wars history for killing Chewbacca.
They're like, the reason why Rey is a Mary Sue is because she's a Palpatine. You know, it makes sense, right? Right? It makes sense for her to have all these incredible abilities where she doesn't need any training at all because she's a Palpatine. Because Palpatine didn't
Anakin needed training, right?
Yeah.
You know Luke needed training, right?
You know Emperor Palpatine needed training, right? He didn't train with Darth Plagueis for most of his childhood for no reason, you know? He didn't do that. Training's stupid. Freaking Rey.
She didn't even need a master.
Rey's dumb. Rey's just dumb. What kind of character is that? Like,
I told you, she's not a character.
If she was a clone, it would have made more sense. But no, she's a Palpatine, so she has incredible powers and doesn't need any training at all.
Like, it's not, I keep saying, it's not the abilities that annoy me that she has. It's the extent she uses them without even, like, thinking about it. Like, she literally does ridiculous amounts of, like anything. It's just absurd.
I don't. In the whole scene where she jumps over the TIE fighter, what was the point of Kylo doing that? Like, he didn't want to kill her because he would have just shot her.
I don't know.
Was he just gonna run over and kill her that way?
Break her legs or something? I don't know.
And then Rey just pulls off this incredible stunt, and it's like that whole scene and Kylo.
That was so trailer bait. It was ridiculous.
And, okay, if that was any other ship, if Kylo wasn't in that ship, it would have exploded. It would have exploded on impact. But since it was Kylo, it just kind of rolled, and he was fine. He was fine. What would you like for the next trilogy?
I said they kind of ruined their chance for another trilogy. Honestly,
I'd say an Old Republic trilogy. That's just.
I don't know if they can do anything after this point, like in the timeline, because it's just like you allegedly killed all the Sith in Palpatine. Palpatine was the culmination of all the Sith, so I don't know.
I would like to see an Old Republic trilogy. But no, I don't. I don't want Disney to make any more Star Wars movies. I don't want it. Because everything they make is going to be canon now, and they're going to ruin canon.
My problem is Disney did not handle Marvel, or they didn't handle Marvel this way. Like, they had a guy at the head of Marvel pioneering the direction of all these movies.
The opening scene was cool. What scene?
I think he's talking about with Kylo in the forest.
Oh.
I mean, what I thought that scene was going to be and what it turned out to be were two different things. I thought that J.J. Abrams was like, alright, fuck The Last Jedi. This is where the movie should have started. With Kylo Ren fucking taking names and being a badass and just going through planets, dominating, and fucking just holding every fucking planet under his goddamn thumb. Because he is now taking the leadership from Snoke and is now doing his own thing.
Apparently, Force abilities are hereditary.
I wasn't going to say anything. But, yeah, that's where I thought the movie was going to start. But, of course, no. He's just looking for a stupid Sith MacGuffin. That's never explained. That's never... Who made it? Why is it here? Who's guarding these? Who are these people that he's killing? What is this planet? Really? Like...
Who made the Pathfinders? Why do you need Pathfinders? Is it so hard to get to? You know?
Apparently. There's only one way you can go.
Yeah.
It's such a specific route that they literally can't navigate it because the magnetic fields and fluctuations in the space or whatever. Which I guess is fine. It's still a very convoluted, stupid thing. You know, why are there only two of them? Why even make one of them? Why? Why make them at all? You didn't need them. Everyone you needed was already there. Like, you already had all the ships made.
Where'd you get the resources?
Yeah, how'd you farm all those resources? Did you like one ship keep going through the fucking wormhole using one Pathfinder the whole time?
It's not like it had like a Star Forge.
It'd go to the fucking local Home Depot and get some fucking steel and shit for your ships. Made that trip over the past 30 years and you constructed 100 Death Star building Star Destroyers.
I don't know, man.
Fuck Palpatine. Fuck Rey.
Yeah. Bro.
This
Kylo and Poe. I like them. I like them a lot. I like the character. I don't really like the direction some of the direction they took with them. I felt like those two characters could have been great. Rey, on the other hand, she needs a complete makeover. Her whole character is just out of whack.
she's shit.
You know, I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know what they were thinking. Snow could have been alright if we had just a little backstory, not a whole movie of backstory, just a little bit. Where did he come from? Where did he
We got the backstory.
But like without Palpatine, if Palpatine never existed, if Snoke never died, if Snoke was the ultimate villain of
That's what could have been, Cole. You're just upset because your theory wasn't right. You're just upset because you didn't get the Star Wars film you wanted.
Yep.
So you're wrong and you're a piece of shit. I don't know if anyone's ever seen that fucking video, but that's a great fucking video. I highly recommend you go check out A Guide to The Last Jedi for Star Wars fan base. That's the title. You should go watch it. If he hasn't taken it down yet after watching The Rise of Skywalker and realizing what utter complete garbage that video is. I'm gonna go see. I want to go see if that fucking video is still up, actually. Because the idea that you can have a disclaimer at the beginning of your the fact that you can have a disclaimer at the beginning of your video saying that if you take any criticism, then you're not mature enough for his content, and then also says, please don't spam hate mail at me or whatever. Like, don't give me backlash for what I'm about to say. And then just continually shits, not just on, like, the fans of Star Wars, but, like, everything they think is good. Like, basically telling, like, every Star Wars fan that your taste is shit because you don't agree with me. And then for him to say all that and then be like, first of all, his, like, whole discussion in the beginning of the video is, you're just upset, you don't like the movie just because your theory didn't come true. So you're a fucking idiot and your points are invalid because your theory wasn't right. And then at the end of the video, he's like, he actually likes the video or whatever. His whole discussion is like, he likes the movie or whatever. At the end of the video, he finally states, his theory was true about how the movie ended or whatever. Of course, he doesn't make the correlation that he made the theory was right, so he liked the movie, and other theories were wrong, so they didn't like the movie. That's what his argument is. Well, that's not true, at least not for everybody. Some people just genuinely didn't like it because it just wasn't that good of a movie. But no, you can't have that. You can't just dislike a movie anymore. It's hypocritical and blasphemy to dislike a movie for any reason, for any number of reasons. You can't do it. You're not allowed to do it anymore. If you do, you're a misogynist, you're a sexist, you're not smart enough to understand the movie, you just don't get it. It's just not what you wanted. It's not the movie you were expecting. It's just so much bullshit. It's like, it just wasn't a good movie. Whatever. I didn't like the movie. Who fucking cares? Like, I just don't understand that whole argument. Like, I don't hate on people who like the movie. Like, I think it's a bad movie, but I don't think you're stupid for liking the movie. It's not like I'm gonna spit in your face if you tell me you like fucking Rise of Skywalker. Maybe you're just into like sci-fi movies or whatever. That's fine. I don't care. We can have a discussion of why I didn't like the movie. We can have a discussion why you did like the movie. But for the argument just to go in the direction of you're not smart enough to get it, and you're dumb, and you're a fucking idiot, and all this other stuff, especially when it comes to like nitpicking, like I get accused of being nitpicky. So who fucking cares? It's a movie. If it didn't do the job well, who fucking cares? You think your teacher's gonna give you a fucking 100 because you turned in something? Well, welcome to fucking college, bitch. Your teacher's gonna read through that shit, mark every fucking grammar mistake you made. Is that nitpicky? Should I call my teacher nitpicky? Like, what kind of argument is that? There's a mistake. I'm sorry. There's a mistake. Let me just fucking blindly look over it for no fucking reason. Because I have my fucking Star Wars goggles on. Not even Star Wars goggles. I have fucking Disney goggles on. Disney can't do any wrong.
Major shade.
Dude, it just like it irritates me. That's a stupid argument. It's a dumb argument. I don't accuse other people of being just blindly following a movie or whatever, just like a movie just for the fact that it's a movie. I get some people don't like movies to the extent I do. I get some people just don't criticize and like nitpick every fucking thing that I do. That's fine. But for someone to say that I like should like a movie regardless of all that is ridiculous. You got anything to add to that?
I really like Star Wars, and I knew all the legends, you know. I knew what happens in Legends after they destroy the Death Star, after they destroy the Empire, you know, kill Palpatine. I know what happens. I'm like, wow, that's awesome. It makes sense. It plays out perfectly. It's great. And then they did this, and I tried to accept that, you know, this is canon. I tried to be like, okay, this is where we're going now. But I can't, you know? They didn't do a good job, and it's sad.
You know what, Corn? You're just saying that because you're just an OT fanboy.
Yeah.
And you didn't get the film you wanted.
Yeah.
So your discussion is invalid because you dislike the movie for any reason.
Yeah.
See, like, you're like a Star Wars fanboy, and I like Star Wars, but like I like them as movies and stuff like that. And like I like the Clone Wars TV show, like that was pretty cool. But like first and foremost, I love movies. Like I'm more of a Lord of the Rings fan than I am a Star Wars fan. That's not to say like anything about Star Wars. I love Star Wars, but like I also, you know, I think Lord of the Rings is better than Star Wars. But like I see them as movies first, just because I love Lord of the Rings and everything about it. Like I love all the extended lore. But then you know they come up with something like The Hobbit, which you know basically follows you know the canon perfectly. You know, and it's based off the book, which is based off, or no, it's based off the old cartoon of it that was based off the book. But you know, there was just so many things wrong with the movies that you know I just didn't like. More so with the sequels than anything else. The first one was like decent, but you know they just weren't. They didn't have as much care, and they weren't as just neat, I guess, as Lord of the Rings. Not to say Lord of the Rings doesn't have problems. You know, there's some continuity problem. You know, there's some things that are just like, you know, some memes at this point in the Lord of the Rings community, but like, they're still movies. They still have mistakes. It's fine. It's not a bad thing to have mistakes. It's a bad thing to have a bunch of mistakes that you don't even give a shit about. You know, there's some things that you just don't catch, but there's some things that are pretty fucking obvious that were just decisions to cut corners. Why did they bring Palpatine back? Because fucking Ryan Johnson ruined the 8th movie for JJ.
It's funny.
And so Ryan or JJ had no other I say he had no other. He thought he had no other choice than to do that, but he had no other choice to him because he wanted so bad for Kylo to have this redeeming arc. That's what he wanted. He wanted Kylo to have a redeeming arc like Vader did, and so he had to have a second evil.
It's funny. It's funny that they named this last movie Rise of Skywalker when they completely killed the Skywalker bloodline.
I know, right?
Because screw the Skywalkers, screw
Maybe.
their legacy, screw Anakin Skywalker. He was crap. Everything he did was trash. Freaking
Anakin Skywalker might have been more assassinated in this movie than Luke Skywalker was.
They completely ruined Luke Skywalker.
Like Luke, everything he stood for was a farce, and he gave up on it in like 2 minutes. But like Anakin's whole sacrifice and everything that he went through was all in vain. Every single bit of it, literally, was just worthless.
Anakin,
It didn't mean anything.
He was the chosen one, and he did
defeat the
destroyed
evil.
Palpatine.
He destroyed the last Sith.
He killed Palpatine. I don't care what this last movie says. He killed Palpatine, and he restored balance to the Force. Rey's not the chosen one. Rey's some dumb Mary Sue that Disney thought of to spark feminism and sell toys. Screw Rey. Screw Rey for claiming the name of Skywalker. She doesn't deserve that.
Also, fuck Rey on Battlefront. Her fucking confuse ability is stupid and bullshit.
It is stupid.
I fucking hate that ability.
I hate her. Dude.
So annoying. You can't even block it. You can block almost every other fucking Force ability, but you can't block her fucking confuse. It's so dumb because you can barely fucking turn.
You can't even move.
You can't move. Can you dash?
You can't do anything. You literally lose control of your whole character for like 5 seconds. Yeah.
Do you think in Battlefront? Do you think in Battlefront, her new costume would be Rey Skywalker?
I hope not.
That's gonna be her new costume name. It's gonna be Rey Skywalker. And then Kylo's new costume will be Ben
Solo.
Ben Solo. Which actually kind of makes sense, but
yeah,
because he is actually a Solo. Makes sense. Maybe they got married. Maybe they got married in that minute.
And that's why she took his last name, or his sort of last name. Rey Solo.
He took his mother's surname.
Yeah.
Because it was cool.
It was cool.
Because you couldn't be Rey Solo. Cause that would be lame. That's not as cool. That doesn't sell as many toys as Rey Skywalker. Rey Solo. Fuck this movie. Like, what if? All right, stay with me for a minute. What if Rey actually had a character, right? What if she was actually a person and not just a MacGuffin?
Mm-hmm.
And what if, since apparently they won this love story from the very beginning, why not just have them on separate ends of the Force, and they like meet each other, and like they actually fall in love or whatever, and then the movies are about them trying to overcome each other and themselves, and kind of getting past the old ways or whatever. As far as a love story goes, like that would make more sense than just like these two people hate each other through 3 movies basically, and at the very end they kissed.
Yeah.
That's like if at the end of like Rocky IV, where Rocky and Ivan Drago fight, and then like they kiss at the end of the fight. Like, I think that would have been more interesting to see than fucking Kylo and Rey kissing.
That's
And these are just like some of the bigger things. We're not even the fucking like details. Like the only details we've gone over is like the MacGuffins, which aren't even like real details. They're actually like big plot points. That's what half the movie's based around. First of all, can we do the whole yeah, I like 5 and 6. No, the whole OT is like very iconic. And when you talk about something about like that's iconic, it's hard to like look at it from a harsh perspective, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I know the prequels aren't like the greatest, but like I still like the prequels. There's still a lot of stuff that you like about the prequels, or that I like about the prequels.
5 and 3 are my favorites. 3 is such. I love 3, dude. Episode 3, I love 3.
What was the point of having the dagger? The dagger. Right. So I went through this whole convoluted idea of the dagger, right? Originally, I thought the dagger was going to be used to kill Palpatine. I thought that's how they were going to kill Palpatine. Like, I assumed that was going to be the only way they could kill Palpatine. No, just Rey can just do whatever. But so I don't know if you mean like you don't understand. I think I understand what you mean. So like, why was the dagger invented in the first place, or whatever, right? I assume that's what you're asking. Yeah, I have no clue because, like we discussed, the wayfinders are kind of pointless, and the daggers only like.
Oh, bro, that reminds me. Freaking Rey when she holds up the dagger to the Death Star ruins and it perfectly matches.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, that's what I was going to get into.
What?
So so the dagger.
Uh.
So the dagger has an inscription that tells you to go to Endor.
The one in the moon. I don't know what moon. I don't remember what planet it was.
Yavin 4?
I don't think it was.
Is it Yavin 4 moon?
Yavin 4.
I only remember Yavin 4 because of the original Battlefront 2 game. I remember that was a map, was Yavin 4. It was a forest.
Yavin 4 was the moon of Endor.
What planet is the Ewoks on?
That's Endor.
Did they not go to Endor? In the Rise of Skywalker? I thought they went to the I thought they went to.
I think they went to another moon of Endor, right? I don't remember.
I could have sworn they went to Endor.
Was it?
Because I thought for certain they said something about the Death Star crashing on Endor. Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know where I don't know.
But yeah. So the dagger was used to
locate a Pathfinder.
Right. It had the inscription on it that said to go to Endor or one of the moons on Endor. Basically, go to the last place that the Death Star was crashed at, and like Rey decides to hold up the dagger to the wreckage and was like, "I hope this matches up" or something.
Yeah, she was like,
and then she pulls out the thing.
And
she pulls out the thing, and then like it points directly to where it's at.
And so she automatically.
But like, there's also that same thing on the other side, unless that just doesn't come out for whatever reason. But I don't know. But like, my thing was like, why make the dagger? Why was this one guy carrying the dagger? Like, who is this guy who killed Rey's parents?
Apparently, he was supposed to take Rey to Palpatine.
I guess he was a Jedi hunter or something.
He was supposed to take Rey to Palpatine.
He was a Jedi hunter that Luke and Lando were chasing. I don't know why. Why were they chasing this guy? They said he was a Jedi hunter. Was that it?
Did they say it was a Jedi Hunter?
They said he was a Jedi Hunter. That's what Lando says. Lando says we were tracking a Jedi Hunter. And I was like, so you were tracking him because he was a Jedi Hunter, or were you tracking him because he had this dagger? And then, but I assume they had to know about the dagger because Lando tells them about the dagger, right?
I don't know. The dagger's stupid. It was
But why does this guy have the dagger?
because he was working for Palpatine.
But why even make a dagger to give away your Wayfinder position that gives away your position?
I don't know.
And like, if you had such an important thing, why would you just be using it to kill people? How did that guy? Did you know Palpatine?
How did the guy went to get Rey? He found Rey's parents. He took Rey's parents from Jakku,
But didn't look for Rey.
but he didn't look for Rey. When Rey was outside watching the ship fly off, screaming at the ship, and then his parents were like, "I don't know where Rey is. She wasn't down there."
Do you think Palpatine would have been fine with that answer? It's like, oh, you didn't look for her? Cool. And then just fucking force pulled his goddamn head off his body? Fucking mind tricked him to slit his own throat with the goddamn stupid dagger?
It don't make sense.
The more we get into the dagger, the more retarded this whole thing becomes. Oh boy. I gotta take a piss.
What do I do? What do I do?
Just talk.
Talk about what?
Yourself.
Hello.
Hello there.
So, Star Wars. Right? Alright. So, Kylo Ren, he turns to the dark side, right? Okay, first off. Boom. They defeat the Empire. Luke starts a new Jedi Order. Leia leads the Republic. They form the Republic. They unite the galaxy. All right, everything's great, right? Luke's training a new generation of Jedi. Leia's leading the Republic, and we're booming. We're booming. All right, and so Luke starts training Kylo, and then for some reason, out of nowhere, Kylo starts turning bad. He starts going towards the dark side. Why? I don't know. Apparently Snoke. Apparently
Snoke, who was Palpatine.
it was Palpatine.
Who was actually just a combination of all the Sith ever.
What I think should have happened was, like, Kylo, what if Kylo came across Sith relics or something, and I don't know what they could have done, dude, to make, I don't know.
To make Luke want to kill him in his sleep.
Luke's a pansy in
What a
the new
bitch.
trilogy, dude.
What a fucking bitch. He must have fucking lost his balls after the fucking war. Stood up to the most motherfucking evil badasses in the goddamn galaxy. 20 years later, his nephew comes to go fucking train with him. He's like, Uncle Luke, I want to learn how to fucking levitate shit and whatnot. And then Luke's like, cool. I promise I won't touch you weirdly. And then in the middle of the night, one time, he thinks about it, and because Kylo caught him trying to touch him a little bit, he had to fucking kill Kylo, so no one knew. And that's the plot. That's that story plot. And Rey got so turned on by this that she didn't know who she wanted to fuck more, Luke or Kylo. She won out with Kylo because Luke died from an aneurysm.
Yep.
Because he's fucking old. And Snoke died because he's a bitch.
And Leia died because she
Is a bitch.
yeah. That death made no sense. Luke's death was stupid. Snoke's death was pointless. Kylo dying.
Is it
was
bad that Han has the
stupid.
best death in this trilogy now? Han has the best death.
Yeah.
His death, I don't know. It was kind of pointless in the end because, like, he's good anyways, I guess. But, like, I guess it helps him come back from, I guess he feels guilt because of killing his father, and that's what leads him to being good again.
Who knew Force Ghosts could still use the Force and affect the real world? You know?
Well, Colin, it's never established that they can.
It's never established that they can, but if they could, then why couldn't Qui-Gon, Yoda, and Obi-Wan, and now Luke come back and fight Palpatine when they're immortal and they can still use the Force? What can stop them, right? What can stop them? Nothing can stop them because they're Force Ghosts.
Well, Colin, you see, obviously, they're not ex-military. Through the whole movie, I literally had Logan sitting to my left, and literally 4 or 5 times he would turn to me and he asked me, "What the fuck is going on?" And I had to tell him I had no fucking clue. He asked me why did Palpatine's lightning kill him? And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, why did Rey die because of it? And I was like, I have no clue. He was like, okay. It was like, I thought I was lost, but I guess if you're lost, then I'm okay. I was like, yeah, we're in the same boat. And then I just had Kiko to my right, and he was laughing at every piece of dialogue because it was so fucking cheesy and corny. It's so fucking obvious. Oh god, it's not even that memorable of a movie. It's I don't even really. I've seen Endgame one time, and it's so fucking. I don't know. I just remember so much shit about it, but this movie is just fucking whatever, you know. I almost thought about getting that fucking another drink while I was down there. After I went to the bathroom, I was like, should I go to the bar? Should I get some more drinks? Just load up on some shots and then fucking come back. Maybe enjoy the movie a little bit.
Ooh, yeah. People were like, the prequels ruined the Force. And then the sequels happened.
My whole thing is, I don't know how you look at the prequels and you say, yeah, these are bad movies and they're dumb and I hate them. And then look at these movies I like these movies. Your taste doesn't have any consistency, first of all. And it might sound hypocritical for me to say I like the prequels but not like these movies. But I'm talking about if you didn't like the prequels for the way it handled the Force, or because you thought it was goofy or whatever, but you like these movies. I don't mind how the Force is used in the prequels. And I think it's pretty. I think they're all decent films at the very least. But this movie just didn't seem to give a shit. There were a lot of things that were really interesting in the prequels. Like, one of my favorite things is the duels. Like, people say, like, the lightsaber duels look like a dance. I find that to be ridiculous. I mean, everything's choreographed, but, like, the Jedi, these are two master Jedi. And not only that, but Obi-Wan trained him. And, like, so obviously he would know his fighting style. They've been friends for years and years and years. Like, of course he knows how he fights. Like, that just makes sense. But, like, beyond that, I mean, they're both Jedi. They're both Jedi, and, like, they're just already so ahead of each other in every aspect. That's what the Force does. It flows through you, but you also control it.
How long are we gonna
I don't know. Are you done?
go?
Do you got anything to say about The Last Jedi? About how dumb the space battles were? The suicide bombers? The fact that Leia was so upset. I don't fucking know, man. Leia was, like, upset with Poe. And then Hodo. Do you have anything to say about Hodo?
She's dumb. All those are dumb. She freaking her. I don't know what she had against Poe.
She didn't have anything. She liked him. She said she liked him.
She just wouldn't tell him the plan, so a plot would form. I'm not gonna tell Poe the plan, so we can have a side plot to this movie. An annoying, stupid side plot at that. But hey, anything to kill time. Freaking, because all we're doing is sitting in space. We're just trying to make stuff happen so we can have stuff while Rey is doing what she's doing.
Fuel, motherfucker. Motherfucking fuel.
Oh, man.
That's the main driving point. It's the main conflict of The Last Jedi. Just let that be known.
And
like, that's some, like... We're running out of ideas in the Clone Wars TV show idea. And you have, like, some fucking character that's on a cruiser and is running out of fuel.
And apparently, you can track people through hyperspace.
Now.
Which is
I love the idea.
Retarded.
I love the idea because they say... Because we watched all these movies before we watched the Rise of Skywalker. And they literally say all First Order ships have this tracker. Meaning that since Finn has worked with the First Order, they have had these trackers. Meaning that they should have been tracking them from the beginning of Force Awakens, right? Did they even have space battle on Force Awakens? I don't even remember. It was
no.
Starkiller Base, whatever. Fucking who cares? But the idea that, like, they only use the lead ship to track the ships, is that not retarded? Like, why not have all the ships track it?
Yeah.
What if there's multiple people in a fleet and they go in different directions? What are you gonna do then? Like, why not just have all your ships tracked? Because there would be no fucking way that they could do anything about it. So we couldn't have Finn and Rose go on their stupid Canto Bites plot, looking for the one codebreaker that could get into the First Order systems, only to find another codebreaker that could in jail.
Yeah. Yes.
The problem with this is that we just watched Rise of Skywalker, but I've had a lot of time to think about The Last Jedi and how much I don't like that movie. Not that I think Force Awakens is good. I definitely don't think that. It's just I have it. It's not comparable to The Last Jedi, and I'm sure in a couple months I my thoughts of Rise of Skywalker will fully develop, because this is more of a kind of a rant. At some point, I'm going to do an actual review. Go check out my channel, Casual Critic. I'm going to edit this down a little bit so it's not an hour and a half long for people who actually want to see a cut down version of this. And at some point, I am going to do a actual review where I break down a lot of my points and whatnot, even more so than we have done here. And it'll actually be, kind of decent, hopefully.
Yeah, leave a follow if you haven't. It'd be much appreciated.
I'm sure this isn't the last time we'll talk about Star Wars or movies. Maybe we'll do this. Maybe we'll make this thing. Maybe we'll watch a movie, and then we'll do this on Twitch, and then I'll edit it, and then I'll make an actual review.
Or maybe we can stream us playing Battlefront, because we usually have good conversations when we play Battlefront.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we rage a lot in Battlefront too.
Yeah.
And fuck Ray.
Screw
fuck Ray on the movies. Fuck Ray in the fucking Battlefront. Terrible. Fucking overpowered piece of shit. But yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck. That's all, folks.